Alan Kill Caller, you're on the air. Hello?
Hello.
What's up?
Well, my friend Z said to give you a call at 1 a.m. your time.
All right. Is this you're the mistress?
Yes, I am.
Oh, all right. What is your official title?
Well, they call me Miss Cassie, and I'm a professional dominatrix. I'm also a BDSM educator specializing in rope bondage. I teach about 6 to 8 rope bondage classes a night, and I, see clients and do interesting scenes with them, and actually, I'm a very happy little sadist.
All right, Mistress Cassie. I have a question for you, and I don't mean this to be in a disparaging way in any way, shape, or form, but you kind of come off like almost like a Caitlyn Jenner.
Could you repeat that?
What?
Well, let me get to the point here, Mistress Cassie. How did you get involved with the V?
She contacted the mistress at the dungeon where I work, and she started talking about a project she was interested in doing, and Mistress hooked her up with me, and we have been talking back and forth, and she knows that I've been involved in this lifestyle quite a bit, and part of what I like to do is to give back to the community and educate. So it's I'm really enjoying what she wants to come up with, because it's, kind of combining, a lot of the skills that I have with a little bit of education, and just kind of, giving people a little taste of, what the people are doing out here.
Sure. Now explain what rope bondage is exactly, because we've been talking all show trying to understand this. What exactly does that entail? Where does it get wrapped around? Do you get choked? What all is part of this?
Okay, it does not include choking. That is a different kind of edge play called breath play. That is not something that I do. In rope bondage, we don't ever put anything around the neck, because we don't want to accidentally, strangle somebody. That would be bad.
Sure.
But the rope itself, we tie people in different positions and stuff. Some of it's very artistic. Some of it's just basically practical. Maybe they want to tie them in a hog tie, or they want to do some erotic play in the bedroom and tie their mate down and, to the bedpost. So they can do a little what we call DID play, which is damsel in distress. It's role playing, a lot of it. But what we do with the rope bondage is, because think about what the human body is. We've got vessels, we've got nerves, we got all sorts of interesting things. Not everybody's as flexible as a rubber band, and joints only bend certain ways. So you want to kind of know what you're doing and how to place the rope on the body. Now that's the practical end of it. The fun end of it is, it's that, the imagination, the sense of helplessness, the person having control over the other one. They might throw some interesting things in there. They might tickle them a little bit, because, that's a little bit torturous, not being able to, touch somebody and they're tickling you. Or, for a lot of people it's very comforting. Other people it's just erotic. It just adds to the play.
Mm-hmm.
That's about the.
Now let me ask you. I'm going to assume that there's a set standard of things that you offered, of tortures or whatnot that you offer. How far past the standard list of options are there? Could I come up with my own options and just say, well, what if I want to give you an extra an extra $100 to write my name in menstrual blood on my belly. Would you do that?
No.
No?
We don't exchange body fluids. It's as simple as that. No, I am not going to put blood on your body or any kind of body fluid like that. That is not something that I do. You know, I'd be glad to, take a magic marker and write fucker across your forehead. But no body fluids.
What about
so that is a fetish for some people.
Yeah. What about the maybe not our own personal blood, but like pig's blood or something, like in a bag? Could you use that? Is that too much? I don't know. I'm just trying to figure out.
No. I mean, it's animal blood. It's sticky. And you got to treat it just like raw meat. Normally we cook raw meat because we don't want to get any bacteria or anything. Mm-hmm. Now, you are talking about something that is a bit like primal play. I actually have a play partner that I am fluid bonded with, which means that, we know each other's history, we've been tested, and blah, blah, blah. And we do a thing called blood play, which sometimes involves needles, just the needle itself, piercing the body, artistic cuttings, and actually the first time that I did blood play on her, we took what's called a fire cup, and where we needled it, we pulled it out, and then we suctioned this on it and pulled out some blood. And I took a paintbrush and painted a mural on her body in her own blood.
I think Chris would be into that. But anyway, Mistress Cassie, sorry. Chris and I were discussing earlier. We spoke with the V here on the show earlier, and Chris and I were discussing why some people would be amenable to being submissive if they're a dominant through their day-to-day life. What drives a person to be submissive and allow things to happen to them? Can you explain that at all?
Actually, I can. Everybody, has their way that they process life, the things that make them tick. For some people, it's like, the thing that gets them going is that morning run. Their health nuts, they like all that healthy stuff. For others, they like to go drink at the neighborhood bar. Others, they need a little different kind of entertainment. For some, maybe their day job is that, they're in charge of everything and it's pressure, pressure, pressure. And sometimes they just want to be able to let somebody else be in charge for a moment and take them on a bit of a journey and let the endorphins going and enjoy a little what we call subspace. And, what they're doing is actually creating a balance in their life, because they constantly have to be in charge in their regular, what we call vanilla life. So they have this thing that balances them out. For others, the submission might be something that they're processing, and they'll go through stages. Like some people, for some reason, need to, really receive some intense pain at first, and then as they start processing that, and they get through the initial, thing of surviving it and blah blah blah, they start seeing things in a different way, and their play might change. They might not play as hard, or they might go harder. It just depends. We do get, psychologists now that will sometimes refer people to come out and, play this because they feel that, they have people that may need to process a trauma differently. They tried talking it out, they tried medication, but sometimes we just need to do something to take our power back. When I was a young woman, I got attacked, and I got cut up rather badly with a knife. Needless to say, I was terrified knives for a while. So about 15 years ago, I ran into a dominant who was quite proficient in what we call knife play. I, of course, was reluctant, but he explained to me that I actually had a say in the scene, that, this was not going to be out of my control. I had a safe word, and I can say, no, please don't do that. And, they gave me a set of rules to follow. And as I played with them, each time I took a little bit of my power back. I went from being totally terrified and shaking and, giving a good show, which of course greatly pleased them, to becoming quite powerful and smiling and enjoying knife play. And now I actually do knife play myself. And it's just such a turnaround. So, there's a lot of reasons why we do this.
Well,
and, some of us are just kinky.
Well, how do you compare being a dominant or a dominatrix to being a psychologist? Because obviously you had a traumatic psychological experience, and you turned it around through being a submissive and a dominant experience, but now you're accepting of it. So, do you believe that dominatrix deserve the same pay as like a psychologist or psychiatrist in that matter, as far as therapy is concerned?
A psychologist has specifically studied certain methods of therapy. Now, we do have many mistresses and professional dominatrixes and stuff that actually are therapists. We see some of them are, actually, doctors, they're sex therapists, or they're psychologists, specializing in different things. It's very different. But, as far as saying, should we get paid for doing therapy? Well, we're not paid to do that kind of therapy. We're not licensed, but part of what we do is we learn how to read our clients, and we kind of get a working feel for it, and you get a guidance. But now we don't just play with people cold. We do basically an intake like you would do with anybody. Even before a massage, you talk to the therapist and tell them if you have an injury or something. Well, we do the same thing. I ask them, any physical injuries, anything, also any emotional issues going on, anything I need to be aware of. Because I need to know, perhaps they need a really hard spanking to pry it out. Or maybe they need something that's a little bit more pleasurable. Maybe they need to be wrapped in ropes and tickled with a...
All right. That's enough.
I guess her management called and her time was up.
That's a little too much. That's just too clinical. Way too clinical.
All right, no more phones.
All right.
Don't answer the phone anymore, because God knows we're going to get a call.
Of course.